Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by...
As always, Stephen Dagliacco.
And
G.
And we have a special guest here today, the one and only Bryan Johnson.
Thanks,
Welcome
boys.
back.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So I asked you what you wanted to do, and you said The Burning.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to tell you no, and I was like, it's loosely based on Cropsey. We could make this work with our...
The boss wants to watch The Burning. We watch The Burning.
Yeah, I was like, look...
Well, at first I forgot it. The whole thing was based on a historical movie, and I was like, and you were like Halloween, so I was like, oh yeah, let's do The Burning. And then I was like, oh yeah, he's right. It has really nothing to do historically with anything.
We are stretching to the absolute limits the concept of this program right now.
I was like, well, Cropsey is based on a real thing, so we could kind of talk about that, and we'll give you some history, but mostly we're going to be talking about a movie that is completely fake.
Is this a well-known movie?
I think for horror fans.
I think for horror fans, people who like cult horror movies, yeah.
Mhm.
It suffered from the whole, as I'm sure you know, 1980 release of Friday the 13th versus the 1981 release of The Burning. Has sort
It's
of
like the same movie.
sort of the same.
movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Well, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it.
Is it a
yet.
knockoff?
No, they were shot at the same time, and there was actually a third movie that was going to be based on the Cropsey killer called
Yep.
Mad Men, right?
And they changed the name from they got away from the Cropsey stuff when they heard it was happening here.
Yeah, I think it was literally called the Cropsey Killer or
Yeah.
something, and then they changed it to Mad Men.
I wonder what was in the fucking zeitgeist that all these movies came out. at the same
Halloween
time.
made money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just Halloween.
Slasher movie
What year was
time,
Halloween?
yeah.
70.
78?
78. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is 81.
Yeah, so Halloween's a modest budget, which is a huge hit. So obviously inspires a shitload of copycats. Friday the 13th, they sold the movie before they even had a script. They just had the title. They took out an ad in Variety, and they were like, the scariest movie you've ever seen, Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
And they got like all this funding and money, and then they made it, and it was a hit.
You're a big slasher guy, right?
I love slashers.
Well,
yeah.
you specifically like Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th is my favorite slasher franchise. Yeah, I love Jason. Because ultimately, I feel like what the slashers are really offering you, it's like you're going to see some gore, you're going to see some kills,
You can see some
and you're going to
Tits.
see some tits. And Friday the 13th, they make no bones about it. They're like,
That's what it
this
is.
is what the genre is. This is why you're watching it, you know?
Yeah.
And the same with this movie.
Do you have a favorite slasher series?
It would probably be Halloween because
Okay.
I like more Halloweens than I do any other series. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, I like the first one. That's it.
Okay.
Friday the 13th, I like the first three.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
How do you feel about H2O?
H2O, is that the one with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
Well, she's in all of them, isn't she?
No. Yeah, H2O is the first time she came back with Josh Hartnett. You're
Yeah.
thinking of Resurrection, aren't you? With
I
Busta Rhymes?
No, he was talking
I
about
think it was
water.
LL Cool J.
Oh, yeah, he's in H2O.
I
He's in
saw that
H2O.
when it came out, and that's like my only experience with slasher movies. I suck at this. Like, this was not in my wheelhouse. at
Okay.
all.
Well, what year were you born?
89.
89. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go. Like,
I kind of missed it.
I was born in 67, so like by the time, like, you know, these movies used to just play in grindhouses and real small theaters and shit like that. And then as time went on and the VHS revolution started in the early 80s, it's like,
They blew
that's
up.
when, that was like the watershed moment for me where you go into a VHS rental place and you're like, I cannot believe, like, how are this many movies out there? And like every weekend, that's all we ever did. There's rent movies. So like you get real steeped in like that 80s slasher shit.
And these are cheap and they're marketable
Yeah.
because this is also pre-internet. So getting to see tits as a young kid, it's
just
real.
huge, yeah.
It's
Dude,
like,
as a 55-year-old man.
yeah, exactly. It's like, and I still like it in my movies because it's like, look, I like ice cream, but when you put whipped cream and like toppings on it, it makes it even better.
There you go.
Right.
So the tits in a horror movie, they make it even better.
Do you think that's the main issue that people have with like torture porn, where there's not enough tits?
I think
modern-
it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, the modern horror is kind of like took away from
It's
that,
all
right?
ghost shit now.
Yeah.
Well, sex is basically gone for movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've kind of erased it and made it a more PC friendly experience. Like when they start remaking stuff from the 80s that was rated R into like PG-13 stuff in the 2000s.
Yep.
It sucks.
You kind of said it was coming back, though. The Oppenheimer thing was like a big revelation.
Oppenheimer, there was actual sex on a big theatrical release again, which was pretty shocking. But I saw some woman, she did a whole post about how the movie triggered her and her husband, and they had to like cover each other's eyes and like hold each other's hands to get over it because they went to the theater and saw a sex scene. Grown adults.
That's fake. That's a fake article.
That happened to me once. I remember I was watching American Beauty when it came out.
Okay.
Which is
You got triggered?
It's a big tit movie. No, my mother yelled at my uncle because I was sitting across the room to cover my eyes. I was like 8.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing, man.
and he did the whole he left the fingers open. So I still say,
Look at those tits, boy.
Isn't it weird? Like you're born, and the first thing your mother does is shove your face into a tit.
Yeah,
for like quite a while, right? And then all of a sudden, it's not okay to see tits anymore.
They will go out of their way to stop you.
Yeah,
and you will go to great lengths to discover them.
Like I haven't thought of this in the longest time. I remember when I was young, like we used to go camping. I was probably like 6 years old, and we were canoeing down the Delaware River.
Okay, and
we came across a nudist camp, like a bunch of naked people. And I remember my mother acting like it was people like beheading each other. Like, just like cover his eyes, like, so I can't see. Look away, she's going. Like, what's the big deal?
Put his head in the water.
Yeah, just drifting by. I was like, whoa.
On the Delaware, do they think it still exists?
That I doubt. Yeah,
I remember when I was younger, we had the hot box and we had all the channels and we had like Spice TV and shit. And my parents had a parental lock on the TV, and I figured out the code, which was 1, 2, 3, 4. They really
very inventive.
Yeah, they made it difficult. So I would go and do it. But I remember one time I fucked up and I reset the code as something that no one knew what it was. And I locked like a bunch of movie channels. I fucked the whole thing up.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I remember we had the hot box. I was like 5 maybe, and it had, hardcore porn on it.
Yep.
So I would sneak down and watch it. I remember my mother heard it, and she came running up the stairs, and I quickly changed the channel. And then she went back down, immediately throw it back. And then she snuck up and caught me. And then she called Santa, told him I was being bad.
To be fair, it's on a TV that you have access to. It's really not.
She rented me Revenge of the Nerds, like when I was like 7 years old. How does she not know?
It's a lighthearted comedy, just a bit of rape,
just a little bit,
light, very light.
Yeah. So
she's into it afterward.
Yeah, she was happy.
Yeah,
she was literally happy
that
afterwards.
That was a thing. It happens in this movie too.
So, I guess let's talk about the real Cropsey real quick.
Well, there is no real Cropsey. The Cropsey is an urban legend, that's been in like the New York area for a long time, up at like Boy Scout camps and things like that. As far as I know,
wasn't it specifically Staten Island? The story.
Well, the movie Cropsey was a documentary in 2009 about Andre Rand and his murders involving the Willowbrook State School, which I guess we'll talk about because what else are we going to talk about?
Well, that's what it was. I guess the urban legend was if you go into the woods, there's a man in there with like a knife or a hook that will kill you.
Yeah.
It's like an urban legend.
Which is this movie.
Kids.
Right?
Yeah, it was just sort of the Cropsey thing was sort of a generic thing that I think they said started upstate at Boy Scout camps.
Yeah.
And the closest I could come to figuring out why he's Cropsey is because they would camp in like these farm areas. So I thought crops maybe.
That's I know there's a Cropsey Avenue in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this anything you remember encountering as a kid as far as like urban legend shit?
No, I don't remember Cropsey. Like I was pretty attuned to the news in '87, so I'm surprised I don't recall any of this. But it must have not been like. I mean, it would be a regional story.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, like, I would love to be, if somebody like, hey, you can be a fly on a wall for 3 conversations in life. One of them would be what should be done with Andre Rand. And I want it to be a bunch of 18-year-old Staten Island Guidos that are like fucking pissed off. Like that would be the best conversation.
That's fucked up what he did.
Yeah. these kids, they're slow,
He's killing a bunch of retards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't got a problem with that. Like they're good people.
Yeah. The Andre Rand guy, though, it's like one of his problems is like, again, from the slasher tropes of the 80s, he looks like the guy who would do that.
Yeah.
He looks like the
He has the look.
He looks like Crazy Ralph.
He looks like Crazy Ralph from Friday the 13th, and he was also a maintenance man. Like they said,
Yep.
he was a maintenance man in a building. So it's like the creepy maintenance man did it like 95% of the time in 80s slashers.
He even has the hell background where it's like he existed in hell basically for like quite some time.
He had dealings with, it seems like,
The Church.
the Church of the Process, which are connected to what's the guy, the Son of Sam.
Son of Sam, cult
and
killings.
that's all like hippie fucking satanic cult shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant just working at Willowbrook.
Well, yeah. Willowbrook
That was hell.
Was the closest thing America ever had to like a concentration camp.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell that to the Japanese.
Yeah.
Brought up before, but the reason why Geraldo Rivera was so famous was because he reported on it and he was like, this is the worst place in America. And it was down the road
or
from us.
what was it Robert Kennedy called it the Snake Pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they turn it into a college?
Yes.
Well, and
CSI.
it is now part of the property is the College of
It's the
Staten.
College of
Okay.
Staten Island. But we should probably
Oh, I'm so happy we get to talk about Staten
Yeah.
Island. some
Yeah.
more today.
we should probably also
So-
tell you what
Is there anything?
Willowbrook was.
Is there anything better than that 80s Staten Island footage?
It's
Oh,
impressive.
in the
It's incredible.
Cropsey documentary.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to know what 80s Staten Island was like, just look at that. It is so great. Like the accents, the people, the
Hankoforia.
the attitudes. Yeah, Hankoforia. Like I think the kid has something wrong with them. I don't know.
He's a little slow, Hank.
Yeah.
So I moved to Staten Island in, I think, 1992, something like that. So I was younger, but I still got like remnants of that growing up throughout my
Oh
life.
yeah.
I mean, those people never went anywhere.
No.
I mean,
Still there.
yeah, I live with those people every day. They're fucking awesome.
I remember I went to summer camp one year. It wasn't a sleepaway camp. It was like a day camp. I went 1 year in like the first grade on Staten Island. And at the end of the year, like the big thing was the counselors took us into the woods, into like the abandoned buildings.
Is this getting dark? Because
And they
what happened to you?
Well, they told us about Cropsey and shit. And like, all this crazy Cropsey shit. And that if we fuck around, he's going to come get us and all this shit.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I heard about Cropsey.
Okay.
Did you ever go to camp or anything?
I went to basketball camp one year.
Okay.
That had nothing to do. Like there was not
Yeah.
that kind. It wasn't that kind of vibe. And I also went to a Christian camp when I was in 6th grade.
Oh, that has a vibe.
Surprisingly, that had more of an evil vibe than anything else. I remember a girl claiming to be a witch, and like in the middle of the night, she's screaming, and people are freaking out and shit. It was really strange. But aside from that, yeah, I didn't go to any other I didn't have that fun summer camp. Like, look at those boobs bounce experience.
Yeah. I mean, I was in first grade, so I definitely didn't. I remember
It seems like such a not New York thing.
and I don't think
And
it
yet-
really is, especially like, we're all fall summer and a lot of parents are city workers. Like my mom was a teacher, so I really didn't need to. But I stopped going to camp because two things. One, my grandma was really fat. She was like, what's eating Gilbert Grape stuff? And I got teased for that. So that hurt
they
my
know?
first grade
She couldn't
feelings.
get out of
Well,
the
she would
house.
pick me up. I mean, she was I'm slightly exaggerating, but she was really, really obese. Followed in the footsteps. And then I had Barney the dinosaur shoes, and I got made fun of for them. And that was the end of me wanting to go to camp. So it was like
Oh.
1 year I toughed it out.
Does that affect you to this day? Not those specific examples, but like other people's opinions of you. Does it register anymore, or have you given up? It looks
No.
like you've given up.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. I definitely was fat phobic for a while, like because I saw my grandmother getting made fun of. So throughout like a lot of my life, I had a fear of being fat.
Right.
You
And then
overcame your
eventually
fear.
I was like, yeah, I'm over this. I'm just going to be a
faced his
fat
fear.
fuck now. See, everyone, be proud of me as I balloon up to an early grave.
Live your truth, bro.
Yeah.
The road to 400 is not easy, but it's achievable.
So the real Cropsey, Andre Rand, he at one point after they shut down the mental institution,
Well, that's
I
what
guess, is that what you
Willowbrook
should
was.
call
so
it?
Willowbrook was a tuberculosis ward / mental
In
institution.
Staten Island, they dump everything.
They don't.
They
yeah,
dump their
basically,
garbage.
yeah.
Quote
They
the
dump the
doc.
kids that people don't
He
want.
literally goes, "What's the difference in Staten Island?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a real indictment of that place, man. Because he was an official guy. That wasn't just some guy on the street. He was like a cop or something.
Yeah,
wasn't
something
it?
like that. Or like a DA.
Yeah, I think it was the DA.
Yeah.
You're
The
right.
Staten
footage
Island
is
gets a
horrible.
bad rap. I think it's a wonderful place.
You know who says that? People from Staten Island.
Yeah.
You can't.
I find the harshest critics are actually Staten Islanders.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
look at Chris Lodondo. He can't stand Staten
That's
Island.
true.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Willowbrook State School actually started as something called the Farm Colony in the 1800s. The city would round up the homeless and the lost and people on the streets of Manhattan and ship them out to Staten Island where they would kind of work to live. They'd put them up in lodging and they'd grow vegetables.
Is that where the saying comes from? They went to the farm?
What?
It might.
Really?
Yeah.
No, the farm usually implies prison, doesn't it?
I think
Or
farms.
death.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
farms existed
I
before
thought or pup
1800.
or like dogs.
Yeah.
They went to like the farm.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Sometime around 1918, I would guess, when the tuberculosis thing was happening, they switched it over to a hospital, and it became like where you take all the sick people of New York, and they ended up in the farm colony.
Okay.
And then
Changed to things.
sometime after that, it became the Willowbrook State School, where it was just the worst like mental institution. But when you say that and you get images of like the insane, it was really just special needs people that kind of didn't have anywhere else to go, and they'd end up in this place where it was conditions
Subhuman.
like that of a fucking concentration camp.
They're covered in their own shit.
They wouldn't clean them.
malnourished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the documentary like Willowbrook 25 years later.
Mhm.
It's not great. It's like the first half sort of recaps the whole Willowbrook experience and stuff. And like as I was watching it, and I mean, I guess obviously I don't have the same experience as other people, but I'm like, I have a special needs kid.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it and I'm like, my God, I cannot imagine her in this environment. And I thought, thank God it's so much better for them these days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I didn't do? I didn't get all fucking pissed off and start screaming about shit that happened fucking 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Like,
There's nothing I can do. I'm like, yeah,
Those people had it rough, and thankfully things have improved.
they sort of paved the way for the people today to have it much, much better.
I actually think
yeah.
there's a case to be made that they may have gone a little too far with that, because what that led to when Geraldo did his expose was the mass closing of mental institutions all over
Right.
the country. And now, where are the mentally ill? They're in the subway hitting people with bricks.
No, they're on,
You know?
no, they're on Twitter.
Yeah.
There's an interesting like graph you could see where, as you see the drop of mental institution patients, the rise in prison inmates go up.
Yeah.
They
I
go to
mean,
prison.
there is certainly a case to be made that we've gone a little too far in one direction and need to pull back. Like, some people should be taken out of society.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know? And
course.
that's not to say like the special needs kid needs to be put in a mess.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No.
You know,
Like
Because
our friend,
there's got to be a happy medium here.
our friend who aggressively attacks people all the time probably shouldn't be in society,
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
they put him away. Like, he's no
Mhm.
longer in society.
Right.
But anyway, there was a bunch of missing children in
Yeah.
the 70s?
This is in the late 80s.
Okay.
Andre Rand was a guy who worked at the Willowbrook State School as like a maintenance man. And when they closed the place, he was like a drifter too. He lived in the woods in like a tent.
Yeah, didn't he live like underground in like the facility?
The facility has tunnels and shit, and so supposedly some of the inmates of the place after they closed it had nowhere to go and would end up just returning to the property and living in like tunnels and shit. Steve and I have been there. many
Yes.
times.
Now,
Oh,
didn't you
it's,
guys encounter someone in like a tunnel
Multiple
once?
times.
Yeah.
We encountered a few people there. A few homeless people there.
Yeah.
One questionable person who was
Yeah.
carrying women's clothing, and we didn't ask questions. We kept walking.
The first time we ever
We
went,
probably
in
should
there,
have offed that guy, right? We
That
probably should
guy
take
looked
care
like
of
a
him.
problem.
Yeah.
Talk to you later, Rupert.
There's definitely a chilling feeling. When
It's
you're
a
in those
weird place.
places.
It's a creepy place.
Yeah.
You go in there and you see the
Rusted bed
remnants
frames,
of
Yeah.
what was, and there's like
clothes,
basements that hadn't seen light in decades now, and
kid
piles
shoes.
of shoes and
Yeah.
clothes.
It's very
Yeah.
creepy.
Didn't you go there once on an early Tell 'em Steve Dave?
Early Tom Steve Dave, yeah, we got some ghost hunters and they went there with us. We were looking for ghosts of mental
Okay.
patients and stuff.
Did you
find
see
anything?
one?
Well, they said we did. I didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm scared of
that's
when
where
I
Chris
go,
O'Dondo got his ghost pussy
Yeah,
because
that's what I heard.
he wouldn't go in. Yeah.
the thing that like I always like fear when I go there is being attacked by like a homeless dude. Like with a
There's
knife or
definitely, I
something.
feel, more of a chance of that than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gone in there with anything less than like a knife. Like I always have some weapon on me going through there.
I shot a music video.
We filmed a music video in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Theater of the Absurd, Rising Tides in Still Water.
Is that on YouTube? Can people
It is,
watch
yeah.
You can watch it. You can watch it.
But yeah, that'll give you a little glimpse kind of what the place looks like now. It's emptied out
it's
buildings.
Very, very scary walking through there.
So
I heard
anything can just
recently they actually
collapse.
sold the entire property for $1 to a guy.
Oh yeah.
on the condition he pays for the demolition himself.
He has to pay for the demolition of all the buildings, which there's a lot of.
He has
It's
not
a
done
massive
it.
property, yeah, and then build up on it. But I don't know how true it is. That's just a rumor I heard.
No, that is true.
Is it?
Yeah, I read that news article, but he's done nothing with it.
I mean, the demo alone is going to cost so much.
Yeah.
There's so many problems.
So, do you know how they caught Andre Rand?
I haven't seen the
before we
movie.
get to
in a
that,
while.
like some of his previous crimes, though, were like he pulled up to a YMCA. This would have been, I guess, in the 70s. Pulled up to a YMCA with a school bus. Told a whole bunch of kids, like, hey, do you want to go on a trip? And they were like, yeah we do.
Next thing I know, we're in Newark Airport.
It's such a great quote. Yeah. Like, I can't recommend highly enough watching this Cropsey documentary.
It's the best.
Yeah. I love it.
It's really good.
I don't think we said it. What this guy did was he abducted several children on Staten Island and murdered them.
Yeah.
They found the body of one, I think, Holly Ann Hughes, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was Jennifer Schweiger.
Jennifer Schweiger.
Yeah, they found her body.
Yeah.
The rest are all missing.
To this day.
So the whole lore in New York, oh, there's a man in the woods who's going to get you. It was real on Staten Island for a little bit of time.
Yeah, the Jennifer Schweiger girl, though, like, it did seem to be heavily based on, like, well, he looks fucked up.
There is some of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Like, do I think he did it? Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but like,
As far as tangible proof,
then they started getting into like these theories of like, well, maybe he had helpers because it wasn't just him living in the woods back there. There was sort of an encampment. Yeah, it was an encampment.
Can't believe homeless
So it's
guys.
like then there was an allegation that they were kidnapping these kids and delivering to the
Church of the
Process for satanic services. And the one cop was like, I don't want to answer.
I'm not talking about the Church of the Process.
Yeah. So,
yeah, well, that one cop, he had dealt with like satanic cults before, and he
right. And missing children, specialized in missing children.
I think he said that the guy who founded the Church of the Process lived on Staten Island at that time.
At that time, yeah. He's like, he's still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's some interesting stuff. I've gone into the woods. You know, I've wanted to talk about this on the show before, but I've never really.
You
brought
pulled
it up.
back.
Yeah. But fuck it. What the hell?
Right.
It's spooky season.
All right.
I like anyone who's seen my Instagram, and I know some of the fans have followed me. No, I go into the woods and I walk around and I take pictures of nature things.
Is that before or after you look for children?
I was like, that sounds so suspicious. I go into the woods and take picture of nature things.
I kind of stopped doing it on my own. I did it for years, but it just got to the point where very often I was running into what looked to me to be like ritual sites. There were a lot, like I know there was a guy, he worked at the Staten Island Zoo. He's kind of, people know of him, where he would go down to the beach around Tottenville, which is the southern part of Staten Island. He'd make like these totems along the beach, like Karens, stone Karens.
Stack rocks.
And they just look suspicious. And he'd make literally hundreds of them. Like
Blair Witch type stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
And then one day, this is probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I'm in the woods around, anybody who knows, it's Mount Loretto Park.
Where they shot The Godfather.
Yeah, where they shot Godfather 1,
the
where they had the
church scene.
baptism. In the woods out there, I just stumbled onto this massive wooden structure that people had made. It was almost like a temple. Like, that's the only way I could describe it. I have pictures of it. We can show them.
All right.
Wooden, like, logs had been dragged, and it must have taken hours and hours to build this thing. Like, it's an actual structure. It
was like a dome.
It was like a dome, and you had to crawl to get inside it. And I went inside it, and like there's totems hanging from the ceiling of it. It was a very creepy thing.
Trinkets.
Right.
Yeah.
And to the point where this would have been left, like, it would have stayed there a while. It was big enough and sturdy enough where the wind wasn't going to knock it over or anything. So I went back there with my friend, like maybe 2 weeks later, and no trace of it whatsoever.
You didn't take me there, did you?
No, I never took you there.
I think.
No, it was actually when we were looking for places to film that music video. He wanted to see it. But it was gone. Like people had deliberately removed it and like no trace of it. Like big logs that people would have had to drag through the forest. There'd be evidence of it. Nothing. So it creeped me out, and I thought enough was enough. There's a lot of abandoned shit on Staten Island, and who knows what's going on
Throughout the years, you've come across like a lot of weird. Like,
yeah, like I found abandoned vehicles with dead like animals in them, axes and things like that. There's people doing creepy shit, and I do not want to fuck with them. You know, so I just stopped going out there by myself.
Probably for the best, you know.
Yeah,
You definitely, after now saying that, would be a suspect. You know,
I
in any
guess.
investigation.
So how did they end up catching him?
I don't remember. You guys watched it last night. What happened?
I think
Didn't
it was
they just
the
pick him
school.
up?
It was the school bus
I think it was
thing.
the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he ended up bringing the kids back, and he got arrested on kidnapping charges.
Yeah.
And then they were able to link him to all the other crimes.
Well, they also asked him questions about working at Willowbrook, and he would like go into like the seizure almost.
He like broke down basically
Yeah.
and was like, it was hell.
Oh,
Like
right.
you don't know what it was like.
Yeah.
There's some shots of him looking pretty
t-
fucked
yeah.
up, drooling, and his
Yeah.
eyes are like wild.
The
and
two cops
shit.
that picked him up showed him the Geraldo footage, right?
Mhm.
And he like had a reaction to it where
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
had
like a
mental
flashback
breakdown.
or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, this guy's probably losing it here and there," and that was that.
Did you also think it was weird that, like, in order to really get him, though, that with the, I think it was the Holly Ann Hughes case, they sort of forced a reverend and his family to take him in? And
Yes. And
That's
then he
weird.
confessed to him.
Yeah. They're like, try to get a confession out of him because you're a reverend. Like, you got to do this. Like, the guy was like, I didn't want to do it, but they kind of made me do it.
And then the reverend's like, everyone got mad that we were housing this guy.
Yeah.
They were like outside the house yelling at us.
And he couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
This was a weird case. This is a really weird case.
Do you think he did it?
I think he did.
I do.
Um,
about you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe
Yeah.
so.
But
My
he's always, wherever one of these kids disappears, he's always nearby.
Yeah.
They always nail him
Mhm.
somewhere in the area.
Yeah.
You know, it's too
What
convenient.
he was a maintenance worker in like the apartment complex of one of the missing kids.
Yeah.
Right. And then the little girl who went to buy soap.
Yes.
You remember this?
Yeah.
And they got his car on camera, like on her block that
Mhm.
day.
Disturbing thought. I wonder if he was doing that while working at Willowbrook and it just went unnoticed because there was so much else going on.
I'm sure.
You know?
I'm sure there was abuse happening at that
Yeah.
place.
Well, if they're talking like the ratio is like 50 to 1, like 50 patients to one staff member, it's like one or two kids could easily go missing without anybody ever noticing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that. I have a dear friend, my first wife, Stacey Patella,
Okay.
grew up in Staten Island around that time in that area. And she said that she was on her bike one day. She remembers this very clearly. She turns a corner on her bike and he's just standing there like halfway down the block, just
Rand?
looking at her. Andre
Oh
Rand,
God.
looking at her. She
Wow.
was like 10 or 11 at the time, she said. And he just kept staring at her and she just like sort of turned her bike around and rode
Went-
off. And that was her.
Smart kid.
Yeah. But she was
Yeah.
like, it was 100% him because I knew who he was, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, the community seemed to be aware of him.
Mm-hmm.
And Andre Rand wasn't his real name. He had a previous arrest and then changed his name to Andre Rand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
No. It was a smaller community back then. You had to spread that news.
yeah, I remember like Staten Island, even when we moved out, and I think you too, it was very woodsy. Way more
southern
than it is
part,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was all woods.
Yeah, I mean,
My backyard was woods.
my block when growing up, the first couple of years there was a horse ranch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was very like rural. It was
Yeah.
not. It was not like the rest of the city.
I had like a nature preserve like in my backyard, like growing up.
Yeah, we'd play in the woods
It
there.
was cool.
You know what I was wondering? Like each of you guys could answer this.
Yeah.
Like I think like it would suck, but at the same time be kind of cool if you were literally your neighborhood's boogeyman. Like
You're
you're the one they fear.
you're the one that everybody's like, look out for that guy. Like I feel like if enough people were like,
Like a
'cause-
John Hughes movie.
because at that time in Staten Island, you know that shit was like every person. Like I mean, people were saying it on camera. They're like, he looks like a killer. Of course he did.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know. So at that time, wait, no, I totally lost my goddamn train of thought.
Being the boogeyman.
Why does that seem?
Being the boogeyman, it's like I feel like I would lean into it. Like if it got to that point where everyone's saying it.
Oh
anyway,
yeah, I wouldn't want
I'd
anyone.
like,
Yeah, I would just do weird shit in the middle of the night,
Just
just like
wear
start
black
digging
cloaks,
holes in the
yeah.
back. You
Wear
know?
black cloaks around and stare
Yeah.
at people.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I kind of want to do that. Now.
Why does it seem like reasonable to those people, like put ourselves in the shoes of someone from 1987, to say something like that on camera, to be comfortable going, he looks like the murderer, he's the murderer. You know, like no one would ever say that today.
No.
You know, it's
simpler times.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's what, 30 years ago? Who cares? Like,
Simpler.
how much has changed?
A lot.
I guess a
Simpler
lot.
times.
Well, I don't know. Like, I think there's probably a certain demographic in Staten Island as well as Brest, New York, or New Jersey that still would have that. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
well, he looks like. Well, I'm watching the documentary, and I'm like, yeah, he probably did.
Look at this guy. He likes rock and roll. He doesn't shower.
Yeah.
He's standing there.
Come on, you've
drooling,
experienced that.
Was he a fucking rocker?
Yeah, you dirty rocker. You've experienced that.
That I've experienced, yes.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit.
So that's kind of the whole thing with Andre Rand. And in like 2004, after years, they convicted him of a bunch of the murders, right?
Well, they
Well,
found the body.
they re-examined his case, and he kind of appealed to get out, and he lost. He went back to jail. I think he's serving.
First degree kidnapping in 2004.
Yeah.
That's what he got. He has 25 to life.
But he was originally arrested in the 80s.
Yeah.
He's been in jail.
He was
30 years.
rearrested.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he got out and then he got rearrested right away.
He's in for life. That's
Yeah.
it.
Attempted rape in 1969. First degree kidnapping 1988. And first degree kidnapping 2004.
Never got charged with a murder.
And he has 25 to life.
Never got charged with a murder though.
Yep.
But that's his sentence was like, yeah, we know you did it.
2 confirmed victims, 6 suspected.
Damn.
So,
That's rough. Yeah,
That was a problem.
yeah.
he was the boogeyman.
And,
He was our
he,
boogeyman.
you know, the nickname Cropsey, the documentary makes it seem like it's from him.
It's not.
Now, growing up on Staten Island, hearing about Cropsey at camp and then seeing the documentary,
Isn't that the opening line of the documentary you just said?
it might be. But to me, this is now Cropsey. Like Andre Rand is now Cropsey. Which leads us to The Burning.
Yeah.
Really misled us with this one.
Now,
Burning.
real quick, The Burning may actually be, in some ways, one of the most important films ever made in terms of film history. And you can make a case without it. None of us are at this table.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I would love to walk out right now.
Hold on, hold on.
This is
the
going to be a
hell?
Seinfeld
No, no, no,
It
no.
has
This
to be,
is
right?
not a
Without
Seinfeld.
this, you don't get Jason
George
Alex.
Costanza.
Yeah, you don't get George
Yeah.
Costanza. Is that where you're going?
No. So this is the first Miramax movie. This is the first movie that Harvey Weinstein
Come on.
produces. Yeah, no, this is true,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he was a rock promoter up until this movie, and he decided he wanted to get into the film business with
Wow.
Bob.
So this movie is,
So
you
it
know,
snowballs to reviewing history?
it's successful. It's successful enough. It leads to Clerks, you know, and we end up meeting and telling stuff, Dave. Without this movie, we're not here.
Holy shit.
All right, it's the most important for us, man, not for film history.
As Miramax is a huge film legacy.
Yeah.
Tarantino,
Yeah, but this movie didn't
Smith.
change
It's
anything. It's just
it's
it
big
helps.
for the business. You know,
This
it's
movie specifically, I mean, maybe the
it's the start of what
production
happens.
company,
You
but-
know, you don't get to that other shit without
like,
this.
this didn't change anything in film.
It made Harvey Weinstein
Yeah.
a career. It gave him something to do.
Now you've met Harvey Weinstein.
I've never met Harvey. No.
Oh no.
Nope.
Okay.
Never met him.
I was gonna ask you what he was like.
You never had to do anything with a plant.
No, I never had to shower. in
Yeah,
front
you
of
didn't have to
him.
massage him or anything.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I never met Bob either. So
Really?
Yeah.
Did they technically like have a piece of your movie Vulgar?
No, because that was Lionsgate.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Lionsgate.
So that had nothing to do with them.
No, that was made through a deal that Kevin had with Miramax at the time, where they just basically gave him money.
Okay.
Unaccounted
And he could
for.
do whatever he
He could
wanted.
do whatever he wanted with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a nice deal to have.
Yeah, it's not bad. I don't know if they make those deals anymore.
I'll tell you that I've watched Vulgar like 2 or 3 times, and I've watched a lot of fucked up movies. Like I've watched Salo a bunch. No scene in a
He always
movie.
comes back.
Yeah,
He
I love that
loves
movie.
it. He loves it.
No movie disturbs me in the way the Room 37 shit does in Vulgar. Like it's so fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's a fun time. Not for him.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that movie. I like Vulgar.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen Bry's movie Vulgar, check it out. It's good. All right.
So how this connects is the killer in this movie
His name
is named Cropsey.
Literally, that's it.
That's
That's
it. Well, not necessarily that's it.
And it takes place in New York.
It takes place in New York. It takes place in the woods. This person is killing people in the woods.
Yeah.
So it is the urban legend of Cropsey kind of brought to life. And how they start this is kind of similar to Jason in a way, right? Like this guy's getting bullied by campers.
So it's funny. There's different
And
types.
by bullied, set on fire while still alive and for some reason bathed in gasoline.
No. And Friday the 13th, it started out with not a kid getting bullied, but campers getting killed in the 50s.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it was campers getting killed in the 50s.
Which shut down the camp.
Which shut down the camp. Yeah, eventually we find out that it was the mom because the campers were doing that and they let their son drown.
Yeah.
At Crystal Lake.
Yes.
Camp Crystal Lake, yeah.
Now, there's different types of slashers where it's like either a whodunit or it's like revenge based right away where you know who the killer is and what his actions are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another type, which I'm forgetting right now. But
Unstoppable Force.
it's kind of like the prototypical slasher like formula almost, you know?
Yeah.
There's little variation as far as like what's happening, but so in this one, you have a bunch of kids, and they're like, "We're finally gonna scare old Cropsey."
Yeah, he's weird anyway.
It's a bunch of kids. About 3 of them have a Neil Schon from Journey afro.
Why are all these kids 35?
They're all.
Why are all
they're
the men
too old.
35?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done a prank gone wrong? Because they're trying to prank him and scare him, and they end up setting him ablaze.
Gone wrong.
Yeah.
Well, setting him ablaze was really interesting because it's like they put like a rotten skull with did they dig up a skull?
Yeah, where'd they get a skull?
Why does it have
did
worms?
decompose his
It looked
skull?
so good.
Yeah.
That's the best effect.
It
in the whole
looked like
movie.
Tom Savini made it.
Tom
almost.
Savini, yeah. So Tom Savini, for those that don't know, you guys,
That's your eyesight.
Yeah.
he's a legendary special effects guy. He did the effects in the first Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
They asked him to come back for the second one, and he was like, "Jason's the killer now? This doesn't make sense." You know? Jason's like supposed to be dead. He didn't understand it, and he ended up getting the job on The Burning, and he did the effects for The Burning.
Oh, it is him.
It is Tom Savini.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah,
This-
the skull looked amazing, and they like scare him by placing it with a candle, and he's like, and he knocks it on the bed. The bed catches.
Weird looking guy even before he's burned alive.
Yeah, he's weird.
He's got like
he's a
a
weird dude.
upturned nose.
He looks like he's like the maintenance dude. Oh, he looks like Andre Rand almost in a way.
I suppose.
You know?
This is even before
And
Andre Rand.
yeah,
did
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. So it's like they nailed it. They nailed it. But he goes up in flames almost instantly. Like the whole bed was covered in gas.
Well, there was a gas can next to him
There's a
because
gas can next
Yes,
to
he's
his bed.
sleeping next to a thing of kerosene. Like, why?
Who does that?
I think it was like there was like the storage shed, right? Like
Yeah.
that, like he just
He's
had a
like
little
the
cot in
caretaker
there.
of the
Yeah.
camp. Yeah.
I guess, but maybe put the gasoline away from like your head.
But that's all his supplies.
Like, you're
well,
just
he's not,
breathing in
he's not
kerosene?
expecting anybody to come
Flaming
in.
skull, yeah.
Yeah.
and just, I mean, I don't know.
You're blaming the victim. This is
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
Right? He did nothing wrong. He was an asshole to a couple of kids.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't see it coming? I think everybody watching the movie knows that the main guy, Todd, was one of the kids who burned him,
Yeah.
right? I love the scene where he's telling the campers about that
Yes.
and has no remorse whatsoever.
Like, all he
He's
cares
like-
about are the theatrics of it.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I burned a man alive and got no consequences from it.
It was just a prank, you know. I didn't mean it,
But have you guys ever like committed a prank and had it blow up in your face or go wrong?
I know you did once.
Yeah, I think I told that the last time Bri was on the.
What, the shit thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you. I don't really have it. I'm not a prankster.
No, I know
Yeah.
you're a prank superstar.
Only with my kid though. Otherwise,
Okay.
I don't really enjoy pranks at all. I like to get pranked, especially like now, like this new phenomenon of like YouTubers pranking people in
Yeah.
real life, like stealing their luggage and doing all this other shit. It's like I don't want to be a part of your fucking YouTube bullshit.
Yeah.
Leave
Yeah.
me alone.
That's infuriating
Yeah.
watching. Like, you want to see those
Mhm.
people get theirs.
Yeah, instant karma.
My wife got him really good one day. Do you remember this?
Oh,
He got a phone
Oh, she
call.
called me up with a fake voice, right? Or a fake number saying the government was coming to seize my computers.
Yes, we're outside.
Yeah.
We're coming in. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Like if you leave, there will be
And I was like,
consequences.
what?
And he was about to jump out the window.
Now, do you guys look
Which
at
does imply that I had something on my computers,
Right,
but
sure.
I actually didn't. Like,
Yeah.
I was just scared.
it? That's what I was just about to say. Like, if due to the prank, he destroyed his computers with an axe. Would you be like, dude, what the fuck was on those computers?
Yeah. That's where I wanted the prank to go. Him just smashing his shit.
Throw him in the tub.
He goes on the lam, never comes back. But so Cropsey gets hospitalized,
Yes.
and
The least sympathetic orderly
Dude,
of all time.
ever.
It is the worst bedside manner. First of all, you've got they're in the hospital, and literally people screaming, just looking at him.
And he's like, yo, let me show you how fucked up this guy
He's
is.
a burn victim.
And you have
It's like
the young,
overdone like a Big Mac. He's going like,
You ain't never gonna see this.
the
again.
young
You'll see it.
black orderly is talking to a doctor who's like twice his age, and he's like showing him what's what.
Yeah, he's like, if you want to be a doctor, you have to look at this.
Yeah.
Is what he says.
And he's just going on. It's so fucked up.
And the doctor's like, not. Oh, are you sure?
He's afraid.
You sure I can look at this? It's like you're a doctor.
Yeah.
What?
And literally just a sick. They go into the room, and the horror of it is a man who's been injured touches a guy, and that's
His arm reaches out. You see the little burn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's weird that because they said it's been a year now. At
Yeah.
that point, it had been a year. He reaches out. His arm is totally red and black and charred with like no gauze on it. Nothing to stop the germs from getting in.
This
Yeah.
is so mean to burn
Really
victims.
bad.
Oh, yeah.
Really
Well,
bad hospital.
On the way out, the nurse actually says, like, you got to learn to let go of the hate. It was an accident. Like
Yeah.
she starts telling him how he should process
Yeah.
being horribly disfigured.
His life is over.
Stop being a
Totally
dick,
over it.
man.
This is,
Yeah.
this is the only thing he can do. I guess I just gotta get revenge.
I used to think about that, like if I was ever like horribly burned, I felt like I'd become like a night avenger, like some kind of superhero.
Oh, that's what you.
Yeah.
that's-
Oh,
Because you can't, you're done.
what else? Would
Like,
you
what are you gonna do? If I
Thought you'd be
my
dark,
face,
man.
I'd have to put like wrappings around my face,
Right.
and then fight crime. Like, because what else can you do?
I would sit home and take opiates all day. Like, now I got a
Probably more
reason.
realistic.
Yeah.
prescribed.
So Cropsey is kind of all burnt and fucked up. You know what probably
what's
would have
that?
helped him?
What's that?
Some online counseling.
Oh, I would have said
Oh
burn
yeah,
ointment.
it might have dissuaded him from murdering children.
Yes. So Andre Rand may have benefited from this too. So I would recommend going to betterhelp.com, talking to a registered therapist today online.
And they can help really horrible people.
Yeah.
Like Andre Rand.
Or fictional
is that
Cropsey.
their claim that like we'll even help serial killers?
That's our claim for them.
For them, oh,
Because
okay.
anytime we deal with a serial killer or monster or anything, I'm immediately like,
Yeah.
they should use BetterHelp.
Yeah, why
That's like
not?
always my pitch. So if you feel urges,
And they don't even have to go to the office. It's right there at home, right on
Yeah.
the computer.
Even on your smart.
right on your laptop. So Jimmy the hair guy, you know, if you want to think about your pogo shrine, maybe you can go talk to someone, betterhelp.com. You don't even have to leave your house. How awesome is that for a
Oh,
therapist?
how convenient.
What's the discount they get? 20%?
Like 20% with our code, yeah.
I have health insurance, pretty decent
Okay.
health insurance. It is nearly impossible to find someone that you can go into their office. So using something by video
Yeah.
is there's it just cuts out the reason for you to not go.
I'm sorry.
It's also pretty inexpensive.
Are you suggesting that the new norm is to not go to the office because we're trying to make that the exception here?
No. The new norm is like you cannot get an appointment in the office. So forget it. Just use the video stuff.
But it's like 24 hours, you know, right there. You don't even have to get dressed. It's awesome.
Well, you probably got to get
Put a
dressed.
shirt on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're a hot chick. I mean, then I'm sure if you get a male therapist, he won't mind if your boobs are out.
I don't know, man. Hippocratic oath, all that
Yeah, I don't
shit.
think they-
I don't know. Yeah, don't say that about me. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, you're right. You know, BetterHelp. They want you, you know, at least some sort of clothes on.
Yeah.
You
Harvey
could be
Weinstein
in
and
pajamas.
Miramax presents BetterHelp.
Therapy casual.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go nuts, but it's there when you need it. So check out our link, betterhelp.com. All right. So the score is by Rick Wakeman of Yes.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
You got to be fucking kidding.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love this
This
score.
movie rules.
Did you notice the score?
No, I didn't.
Dude, go back and listen to it. It's great.
It's just fucking Heart of the Sunrise.
Do you like Yes?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
Ever since I was a kid.
I did not think you would like Yes.
Little roundabout.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Rick Wakeman.
Yeah.
Not only Yes.
I don't think
but
he was in
Asia.
Yes.
Asia too.
Yes. I think he was out of Yes at that time. Wasn't that the Trevor Rayburn era with like 90215 and shit? I don't think he's in the band at that moment.
Yeah, maybe he took like a break.
Yeah.
This is 1981. You know more than me.
Yeah, look it up.
The production also
See if
might
he was
have
in the
started
band
in 1980.
81. He came back. They did the union thing.
While you look that up,
Yeah.
you said like you would fight crime, he would do drugs. He decides to kill Courtney Love, basically. Like that's what she looks like in this.
Oh, the prostitute.
The prostitute.
I didn't take her as a prostitute, though. I thought she was just a barfly. She's credited as the prostitute, though.
Well, I thought she was a
He
hooker.
picks her up on the street and she's showing off some leg, but no one ever speaks.
No.
Right.
She except her. She talks at
I'm
him.
gonna go in here.
Yeah.
Tommy.
She has a double chin.
Yeah.
She's not very attractive.
Yeah, no, she's definitely end of the night
Yeah.
type gal.
Yeah.
He left Yes in 1980.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was
there you
out of, yeah, I guess he decided to have a movie career.
Yeah.
Wish.com Courtney Love is the prostitute.
Wow.
Rewatch it. It looks exactly like her.
And I think he picks up a pair of scissors and kills her.
Yeah, he stabs her in the belly.
Yeah.
Was it scissors or hedge clippers?
At that point, I think it was
It was
scissors.
scissors.
Yeah. He just decides, I have to murder this hooker now.
Well,
Because
she
I've
was
been burned.
she was
Yeah.
disgusted by him though. That's why.
Yeah.
I think if she
You think
would,
that was his motivation?
if you watch the chain of events, he walks up and then she's like, "Oh God, no, just get out of here."
Yeah.
Right.
Where it's like even the hooker won't like fuck
Touch
you.
him, yeah.
So I guess he's like, "Fuck it," and he just kills her.
Is this whole movie just telling us not to trust burn victims? Is that like what we're supposed
You
to
needed to be
learn?
told that?
No?
Yeah.
Do you guys know? I know I've sent them to you in the past. The Darman videos. That guy Darman.
Darn, man.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Darman is a guy on YouTube. I think he makes videos for like people with speaking English as a second
Okay,
language.
yes, I know this guy.
And they're always like,
They always
so-
have millions of views.
yes, they have millions of views, but they're the worst videos you've ever seen. It's always like some kind of social message, but done in the most ham-fisted way possible.
How do you spell it? I'll tell you the title of
I
his
think
latest
it's
video.
Darman. Darman.
He's just
but
helping
I know he did one about burn victims where like a man is on a date with a woman who's like got a burn on her like shoulder or something, and then he finds out about it and he's just horrified and talks to her like she's a piece of shit after that. Yeah, those are them.
As
Darman.
one would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all have like clickbait titles.
Yeah.
Where
Read
it's
some
like
of them. Read
kids make fun of boy with kids make fun of boy with autism. They
Yeah.
instantly regret it.
It's always like you'll never guess what happens
yes,
next.
62 million views.
Yeah.
62
Gold
million?
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Gold digger dumps broke boyfriend, then regrets her decision.
Yeah.
And every video is so shitty. The dialogue and acting, it is unbelievable.
You got to watch these. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them any
Evil
more views.
foster mother.
Damn.
Evil
I don't think
foster
60
care mother.
million and one is going to be a big
Yeah.
deal.
Right, yeah, I guess.
Evil foster care mother mistreats kid, lives to regret it.
Yeah.
And there's like hundreds of these.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he kills it. He's making millions.
It's the
Oh, yeah.
man.
Screw that guy.
No, he's great.
So now we are in Camp Stonewater, which is a
Yeah.
different camp than Camp Blackwater. Camp Blackfoot.
Blackfoot.
So I guess Cropsey is like, I just need to kill campers.
Well, they closed his camp
And
after
reti-
he was burned alive.
Okay.
And then they put up a new one, I guess, down the river.
Okay. Because I was like, he didn't even go back to his original camp.
He doesn't even care what kids he's killing. Like, you'd think he'd go after the people that burned him. No, he's just anyone who's at
He killed a
camp.
prostitute.
He would be sympathetic if
He
the
just
mo-
lucked out that Todd happened to be
Yes,
there.
but if the movie was about him getting revenge on each of the kids individually that burned
You'd
him,
root for him.
you'd be rooting for him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Instead, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to kill anybody.
Right.
Yeah, random like kids that like a lot of them. Well, not the guys so much, but the females you actually like their personality.
Yeah.
They're nice kids.
The guys, it's bizarre. Every single person comes off as a perv or a potential date rapist.
Yes.
Like every
Every
single
one of
motherfucker is like that doesn't deviate, and the girls are constantly like, like come on, like.
And the camp is just the most hypersexualized place on earth.
The camp
softball
counselor, Todd's love interest.
Now, if women's softball was like that, I would be a women's softball fan.
We wouldn't be here. We'd be at a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it opens with a softball game. And
No
the
pants.
girls,
No bras.
The girls
No
are in
bras.
bikinis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
nuts.
George Costanza.
There's a close up of a teen's ass.
Yeah.
And it's really uncomfortable
It's
because she
shaking.
looks very young.
It's shaking.
Yeah.
And there's two 35-year-old men like,
Yeah. The one guy puts his arm around, like, look at that. Because, you know, when you're with your buddy.
So
That's the way you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the elephant in the room is Jason Alexander is in this George Costanza.
Yes.
I
With
was
hair.
I was
With hair,
considering
yeah.
making it a bit and not bringing up Seinfeld at all the whole episode because I bring it up every episode. So I thought it'd be really funny if I didn't this time, but let's just do it.
Fucking George.
So
And he's
this,
got like weird Billy Crystal energy in the
yes.
whole movie.
So this is 1981. In 8 years he will be playing George Costanza.
Right.
The aging that this man goes through in 8 years is brutal. Loses almost all his hair.
He's been working overnight at the railroad. That
Yeah. He has a rough like decade ahead. But I like him in this.
No, he's annoying. He's like, yeah, I'm the guy. I'm a cool guy.
He's the cool guy for
Yeah.
sure.
I actually think he's like,
There's nothing cool about Jason Alexander.
look at that head of hair.
He wasn't he like slightly balding in this? Like he was slowly going a little back. You could tell.
I think you could tell one
A
day
little
he would
bit,
be bald.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be like a fucking 20.
He's also like, he has this weird character trait where he's the guy that gets things for them. Like
Yeah.
Well, he's like,
he's like Red in Shawshank Redemption.
yeah.
he's charismatic. You know, he can just make things happen.
he
Right.
picks up the dirty magazines and condoms.
condoms.
He's the
Yeah.
guy, you know?
But yeah, it opens up with that baseball scene, and then it goes to a cafeteria.
No, it goes to a shower.
Well, no, before the shower.
Oh, before?
Before the shower, they're in a cafeteria, and the older counselor, the woman, who's
Michelle.
Todd's love interest,
Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
she's telling the other girl to stop, like the young kid girl, to stop like being a prude and go fuck Glazer. Did you notice this?
Yeah, well, Glazer's like the hot stud.
Yeah, she's like, what are you waiting?
Glazer's hot.
Why
you
don't
should
you
go
fuck
fuck him.
He comes more off as like a soft-headed bully.
Yeah.
But then you start like he's real like mopey and shit. And you start to like as I watch the movie, I'm like, is he really the victim of the bullying? Because everybody goes after him. All the girls
Yeah.
go after him.
Yes.
They shoot him at one point.
Yes.
And like Alfred's supposed to be the weird guy nobody likes.
Mhm.
He has friends. He hangs out with the George Costanza crew.
Yeah, like the cool guy has his back.
Yeah.
So like, how is he the nerd?
Right. And then like everybody kind of likes him other
Yeah.
than Glazer. He's the only one.
Well, the girls too. Although the girls see after. Well, we'll get to that part in a second.
Yeah. So now one of the girls is like, hey, I'm just going to go take a shower.
Yeah.
And she walks in, and the camera really makes sure you get a nice shot of the boobs,
Yeah.
Yep.
which
Right.
is always nice.
Classic boob. Like nice tits.
Yeah.
Like they're not huge. They're not big. They're like small tits. And that, you know, you don't see tits like this much anymore.
She's got those puffy nipples.
Yeah. So
Well, after this, they started to like, you know, he got into his thing, the Weinstein thing. He was able to see everything first. So
I see it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
this is where you got a taste
this
for
is
it.
when you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, wait a minute. I could check this out before I put it in the movie.
Also, my other question is: Glazer a camper or is he a counselor? Because he looks old enough to be a counselor for sure.
I think he's a camper because they threatened with sending him home.
yeah.
Yeah, that still didn't sell me though. I still wasn't sure because it's almost like he has authority over some of the kids.
I think it's just like he can kick their ass.
Well, he's
So
a
it's assumed
37.
authority,
Yeah.
He's a 37-year-old camper. The
Right,
problem
yeah.
is he's intimidating.
So Alfred is caught peeping,
Yes.
yeah.
and they're like, we should throw you out.
Yeah.
And could you imagine today if one of the counselors was like, come on, he's just doing a little peeping.
Just guys being guys.
This is the thing that I'm like, and I guess, you know, when I saw this movie, I didn't see it theatrically, but I probably saw it when I was around like 16, 17,
Okay.
somewhere in there. And the eyes you view it through today versus then. It's
Yes.
like back then, it's just like, yeah, it's simply like, wow, those are great boobs.
Yeah.
And you don't notice the guy being like, just let him get away with it. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Like this message that really is this misogynistic message. And I'm not woke. I hate that shit.
Right.
I hate it. But so I hate
Maybe there was an issue.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was an issue. If this movie is even slightly representative of the shit girls were really going through, like you almost want to apologize. It's terrible.
Hey, he's just looking at her in the shower. What can you do?
Oh, Alfred.
And
Yeah.
she made,
And then we're supposed to be like, I feel for Alfred.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
yeah, and the Michelle counselor, the lady, is the only one that talks sense the entire time. She's like,
But meanwhile, she just advised a teen
did do
to go
that,
do
yeah.
some fucking.
I think she's another counselor, though, wasn't she, Sally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Alfred gets off the hook, and now they're like, "Look, you guys just got to go be friends." So Alfred's getting bullied a little bit by Glazer,
Yeah.
who is a 35-year-old camper who's kind of muscular and handsome.
Yeah. He reminded me of Ajax from the Warriors.
Kind of, yeah.
James Remar.
And
Very rapey.
the jacked guy,
lady.
yeah. So Glazer swims over to this dock filled with all these girls.
The girls
Pushes
are
Alfred.
sunbathing on like a island.
He pushes
Yeah.
Alfred into the water, and Alfred can't swim.
Yes,
And
that's
that's
right.
like his main bully moment. Like, oh, Laser's a mean guy.
Yeah.
And it's like this grown kid can't swim. He's like 16, 18 years old.
I think he's like 28.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be,
Yeah.
a teen.
So they all like, "What the hell is the matter with you, Glazer? He can't
He
swim."
can't swim.
He spent
He's supposed to know that.
Yeah.
but he spent a total of like 3 seconds
In the water.
Like, he was in no danger.
Yeah.
Well, George
He probably
Costanza
could have
saved
just
him.
put his foot down.
down,
He'd be
yeah.
fine.
So in order to get revenge, they shoot him with a pistol.
Yeah.
And not only do they shoot him with the BB gun, but it's from like 200 yards away.
Amazing accuracy.
To a floating dock where a bunch of other girls are just sitting around. He gets shot in the ass, and somehow the girls all know what happened, and they all start laughing. And then Glazer gets pushed in the water on top of
The
it.
fat girl.
Yeah, by the fat chick. Yeah.
Where I'm
That's-
like, I
and
can't
That's why I'm like, I
imagine-
think Glazer might be a victim.
I can't see where the fat girl would be like, "I'm going to bully the handsome jock that everyone likes."
Oh, I see it
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, she's like,
You know what? In modern society,
fuck
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
He would never even look my way anyway. So guess what? Now you're getting pushed into the
You're
water.
done, Glazer.
Yeah.
Do you
It's
remember
over.
when Steve McQueen took out that guy on the motorcycle in The Great Escape?
Yeah.
It was that level of
Do you know
accuracy with that
who
thing.
operated the BB gun here? Do you know who that is?
Who?
The actor?
No.
Do you know who he played?
Who?
The Plague from Hackers.
No way.
Oh, Fisher Stevens,
Fisher
right?
Stevens, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Also in Short Circuit.
Yeah. Short Circuit.
Most
2.
recently in Vice Principals too, and on HBO.
Oh, well, how is that? I've always wanted to watch it.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Especially like, dude, if you like Walton Goggins.
Yeah, I like
holy
it.
shit. He's so good in it.
Fucking burning, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
burning.
Yeah.
A lot of people got their start in this movie.
Yeah, I was watching like Holly Hunter.
Yeah.
As you know.
Which
in
one
it.
is she?
She has one line, I think it might even be one word,
Okay.
where they want to go into it's towards the end when they're on the rafting trip and they're going into the water and like the kids want to go in too, and she's like, no, you guys wait here, and they're all like, oh, come on.
Okay.
And then she's just on the rafting trip mostly, you see her.
Okay.
Like little shots.
Because
here
I
and there.
kept looking for her. I was like, I can't pick her out. I
Yeah.
couldn't recognize her.
Yeah, she looks, once you see her, you're like, okay, that's her.
Okay.
Do you think if this movie comes out before Friday the 13th, this is the staple?
No, I think Friday the
Still
13th
would've
is better
overtook it.
made.
It doesn't have as good a villain, you know.
It
And
Well,
does.
Friday the 13th, you don't see the villain until the end.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't find out that it's Mrs. Voorhees until the end.
It doesn't.
No, but what about Jason?
You know,
That's the second one.
He's not in the first one.
He's in the first one for 1 second, and it's like possibly
Yeah.
a dream sequence.
Wow,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So it's not like, being marketed on like guy in hockey mask.
See, I was about to say that these movies kind of hang on how intimidating the slasher is, but I guess not.
No, I
even
think.
even in the second one, Jason was potato sack.
Yeah,
wasn't
he has
Like,
a white sack over his head
Yeah.
with like one hole cut out for his
Yeah.
eye.
And when
He
did he
looks
get the
kind of like a Klansman.
When did he get the
A little
hockey
bit.
mask?
Yeah,
third one.
No shit.
Yeah, which is like when you start watching these, you're like, Jason isn't here. Now he has a sack on his head. It's not till the third movie where he's the Jason that everybody knows.
And was Psycho the first one to do that trope where it's like it's not the
Psycho's a very
mother,
different
it's-
movie.
Yeah.
I meant the villain is like not who you think it is kind of thing. Like, instead of it's not Jason, it's the mother. Like, it's not the mother, it's the guy. The kid.
What's his name? Who was the character?
Norman Bates.
Norman
Bates.
Bates.
Yeah. Did they get it from that?
I don't know. That is
That's
like
an interesting. I don't think anyone's ever made that connection, as far as I know.
it's credited with like kind of kickstarting the slasher movies. It's like this British movie Peeping Tom, which I've never seen. Have you ever seen it?
Peeping Tom.
How is it?
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
I never saw it. That and Psycho are kind of credited with really kickstarting slashers.
But it's Halloween.
But it's like Black Christmas is awesome in 73. That's a great proto slasher. I love that movie.
Halloween's the one, though.
Halloween kickstarts all the imitators into the 80s.
Yeah. Well, the actual like, the fuck is that? Oh.
You don't know your own studio?
No. All of a sudden I see smoke and shit.
Yeah.
This book, I believe it was from the 30s, Agatha Christie called, well, at the time it wasn't called 10 Little Indians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
10 little N-words.
Yeah, that was the original. That was the original title.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
That's Friday the 13th is based on. It's like being in like being away from everybody in a secluded area and being picked off one by one. I think that's the first novel or the first story that they.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. There you go. There's your history.
Yep. So
we got some.
So where are we?
Do we get to that scene where
Actually, you know what? It's not 10 Little Indians because that was also deep. Now it's called And Then There Were None.
Yeah.
That's the actual title.
Yeah,
now.
it's had 3 different titles.
Yeah.
That's like Boss.
Yeah.
This is where they discover they're being watched by somebody in a leather mask. They see the mask through the window.
Is it a mask or
Oh,
just
yeah.
his face?
It's his face, but it looks like a leather mask.
Yeah,
like,
all the
in
guys are
scene.
kind of hanging out.
Yeah, they're chilling. They're dealing out some porn, and then Alfred sees the face in the window, and he's like, "There's somebody there," and there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you kind of get a start like, "Oh, they're being hunted."
It's
now.
starting. It's the building is starting, right?
Yeah.
So now they're like,
Canoe.
yeah, they're all about this big canoe trip. Everybody wants to go on it, and
They have the scene where the guy is
Woodstock all alone. Fisher Stevens is like he goes back all alone.
Yeah.
And they set up like they're gonna kill him.
He says he's going to get vitamin E.
Yeah.
Is that like for his dick? Like he needs his vitamin E right now in the lunchroom because he can't get an erection? Is that what that was?
Does
that's
vitamin
how
E
I
do that?
What's that?
Vitamin E.
I
does
don't
that?
know,
Oh.
but they have this whole scene where he's like, I gotta get my vitamin E, and the glazier's like, you believe in that?
Oh. It's about to go on vitamins.com.
Yeah.
I assumed it was dick pills, but maybe I'm wrong.
I wish we had a Bluetooth sponsorship because
I know.
Oh, that would have been
That'd
good.
be
That would've been good.
You don't need vitamin E.
Yeah.
You need Blue Chew.
All right. So they set up like they're going to kill Fisher Stevens and they don't. They're like, get back to camp,
Yeah.
you know? And while that's out, one girl is going to go out with, I don't know this character's name, but he's like an older counselor and he goes skinny dipping with this girl.
Oh,
She's a
it's
smoke show.
Eddie. I
Eddie,
think.
okay.
Yeah.
That girl,
She's a smoke show.
I am so taken by every time I see this movie.
Yeah.
Really?
I read or heard somewhere within the commentary that girl had a nudity clause
Yep.
and did not want to do that nudity.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I wrote my notes. I'm like, for not wanting to show anything, she showed a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
everything.
Well,
Yeah.
it's Harvey. Harvey's going to make that happen.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, you look back, that's where the roots started, man.
I guess so.
Yeah.
She was like a Miss Teen USA or something like that. Like she was like a beauty queen winner. I mean, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And after this, she gave up acting. Like it
Oh,
broke her.
really?
Yeah, the nude scene.
Who would blame
What
her?
did he do?
Poor girl.
Who would blame her?
Something
Put her in the middle of the woods
horrible
naked.
happened.
There were a lot of plants around
Yeah.
in the woods.
So that's what happened to her. She quit acting, but she has an awesome nude scene. She's hot.
Full frontal.
And while she's making out with Eddie, he's like trying to fuck her in the lake.
Yeah, he goes for a quick slip in.
And she's like, no. And she leaves. And now it's Cropsey's chance. And he kills her.
All right. So he throws her clothes all over the woods so we get more nudity.
Yep.
And then whoosh, slits her throat.
And
This is before they leave on the canoe trip?
yeah. Yep.
Oh.
And now Eddie, they accuse him of you know what? They're already on the canoe trip. I'm sorry.
No, that's why I said
Because
canoe,
they
canoe,
stopped
canoe.
for the night.
Yeah, and they did the campfire story.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Skip like half the movie.
Nah, not really.
He skipped like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they went on a
They
canoe.
went on a canoe trip and they paddled like all day. So now they're far away from the camp.
Yes. And I guess he was following them on foot, right?
I guess, or waiting.
I think so. Yeah, I think he followed them. Then they did the swimming thing. She took off.
Yes.
She got killed. The next morning, for some reason, he's sleeping in the weeds, like just on the ground in the weeds. And Todd and Michelle are like, "Where is she?"
Yeah, Eddie is very Brooklyn.
Eddie's very he's like kind of aggressive. He was in a late '80s show called The Finelli Boys.
Okay.
What was that about?
It was just about like this dad and his two sons who I believe they run some kind of company. I can't remember, but yeah,
Waste management with a Finelli.
probably something along those lines.
You're gonna be the next John Travolta.
Yeah, but I think that was like his other big thing. He was like the only other guy that like got some work. Although the Michelle lady got a lot of work too.
Yeah, she got a lot of roles.
Yeah.
Eddie is so like rapey.
They're all rapey.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like when she doesn't submit to him in the lake, he's like, "They get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here!"
he's like, "What are you wasting my fucking time for?"
Yeah, he's enraged. I'm like, is this like I don't like? I mean, who acts like this?
Yeah. It's a different world in like I guess 80, right? 1980.
I guess like I was like 1980. Yeah, like I was still too young to be like messing around in summer camps with girls and shit.
Mhm.
But even like, I mean, a couple years later when I don't remember anybody being aggressive.
It seems
that.
like such
that's nuts.
It's to me anyway. It seems like such a poor tactic to try and get the girl to take her clothes off.
Yeah, like to yell her into submission.
Well, he already has her naked. He's like,
He was ready, yeah.
Yeah, he's hoping that they're gonna fuck and
Yeah.
I get that, but
Yeah, but she runs away from him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Out of they were skinny dipping,
yep.
and then
You ever go skinny dipping?
and I know you did once.
I did, yeah.
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 What about you?
Yeah.
You ever go skinny dipping?
Yeah, my own pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing the old
Not
nude swim.
lakes and shit and ponds. Like,
No.
I don't like
No.
anything where I can't see below the surface of the water.
I'm
No.
terrified of like you hear those stories about like the Amazon about like parasites that go
Swimming
in
up
your
your
dick
cock
hole.
and shit.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
scared of that too.
I went skinny dipping in someone else's pool.
Yeah, it was
you
a
went,
pool.
You went in the ocean.
No. Oh, I did do it in the
You went
ocean
in the
once.
ocean?
Yeah.
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 How brave you are.
Yeah. Well, not too deep. But you know, when a girl's like, I'll go if you go,
Right.
it's like,
You
okay.
gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta risk your life.
Yeah, it's like I gotta see tits.
You gotta risk your dick hole.
Yeah. So, where are we? All right. So all the canoes are gone. So I guess in the middle of the night, Cropsey came and released all their canoes.
He killed the girl and then stole the canoes.
Yes.
Or at least sent them down the river
What a mischievous guy.
because he was still there. And then they decide, let's use our camp skills to build a makeshift raft. How far did they go that they have to build a raft to get back?
It was a whole day's worth of paddling.
Damn.
I also like before that, George Costanza does like a whole Three Stooges bit.
Does he?
Yeah, he's like smacking him and going, you Mo.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
He's doing it to what's it, Glazer, right?
Do you remember? I'm sure everybody's seen this. The Burger King commercial.
Which
it was
one?
McDonald's commercial.
Oh, with,
With, Jason
at
Alexander.
the Arch Deluxe.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the cool lettuce. I feel like that character is this guy. It's the same guy. Yeah.
So he went through the burning.
Yeah, he went through the burning, he made it out, and then went and became a spokesperson for the Arch Deluxe.
So, like, when you're taking a canoe, right, you can go, like, really far down a river. You know?
You'd think. I saw
Think so.
Deliverance.
Yeah. Do you know what else is really cool river?
What?
Riverside.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know what
What's
is?
that?
It's a service. It's a telecommuting service and recording service that you could use for every podcasting needs, your video needs, conferencing, anything you want.
That was a
But
hell
is
of
it
a-
4K?
Right? It's 4K. It's any K you want.
Special K.
Yeah, special K. They got 1080. It goes
Like
up to
ketamine?
4K.
Yeah.
Is that what you're selling?
It's so easy, Riverside, it'll feel like you're on Special
You
K.
can buy drugs
right.
from one part of the world to another.
Yeah, you could be in the deepest K hole and still operate your
Yeah. It's super easy interface, live streaming, super awesome customer service. I actually, this is a true story, using Riverside. I did a show and the whole show was lost. Like my thing didn't upload. Riverside was able to go into their end and save the episode.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
That's true.
Yeah.
Riverside.
Yeah, what an
What
awesome
were we doing
product.
without him?
I know.
Riverside FM.
So check them out. So now Alfred is kind of being like a creep again, just
Peeping.
looking at people. He's doing more
He's
peeping.
constantly peeping.
But he's our hero. You know, like,
He's not the hero.
he kind of is.
Todd's the hero.
Yeah, I suppose.
But Todd's also the
But
villain.
Todd's the villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Todd's burning people.
But he's a handsome guy, so you're just supposed to be like, yeah, he's the good guy. So, where are we?
So they send a bunch of kids down on a raft because they found a canoe.
Yeah. Oh,
They go to
and
check it out.
so Glazer is on a romantic stroll,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah, they sent. I'm sorry. Before you continue, we got to say this. They sent a group of kids on a raft to try and go back to the camp to rescue the ones they leave behind.
yes,
Yes.
Right. They built a raft.
They built
Yep.
a raft. And,
George Costanza's leading it
Yes.
and they're
with
all
the fat girl. They really make sure they show you the fat girl.
Wait, Costanza's leading it.
No, Costanza stayed on land.
Yeah, he's back on land.
Costanza stayed on land.
Okay.
The
Costanza.
I think Eddie and the other dude are leading it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And this scene, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but why were they all talking at the same time, constantly going to the canoe? Like they see the canoe, they're like, "We gotta get to the canoe! Come on, let's push!" And they're all doing that at the same time, like, "Yeah, come
But
on!"
they're excited.
yeah."
They're gonna say they're like, well, all right, now
Yeah.
we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was very, very weird because it was long. Like it was like a 2 to 3 minute.
But there's a lot of
extended
build up
scene.
because of what's gonna happen, and when
Yeah.
they get to the canoe,
Yeah,
he comes out of nowhere. He just materializes.
he wasn't in the canoe. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
Well, he was laying there, right?
Yeah, I guess. And
Yeah, the shot though, like he comes straight up.
Yeah.
like it's a very weird shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you see him holding the shears
Yeah.
in the sun. By the way, a lot of murder in daytime in this movie.
yeah.
Yeah, very rare.
Mm.
Well, they're gonna save the money on lights. You
But
know.
somehow this burn victim with hedge clippers overcame like 6 people.
Oh, that scene is awesome when he's just like,
Just one by
Chopping.
one.
Yeah.
He likes
was,
stabbing them in the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think part of that scene was the video nasty
yeah, yep.
thing, right? Where it says British label Thorny MI accidentally released the uncut version of the film on videotape rather than the slightly trimmed version. And the two major scenes of contention were Cropsey's mass murder spree in the raft massacre sequence and a pair of scissors piercing a woman's flesh in the post-title sequence, which I guess would be the
Yeah.
hooker lady.
Now, do you know the video nasties, Ant? Do you know what that is?
What is that?
So in America, we had all these violent slashers and stuff coming out,
Right.
but specifically in England and Australia was even more brutal. They really
They
like
censored
tried to censor this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's they're called the video nasties, basically like cut American films.
Well, that's kind of the era, right? That was the Reagan era.
Yeah.
Thatcher, the PMRC.
And I think like if you had like a copy of like the uncensored American one in England, it was like, valuable, like trading it around and shit.
Yeah, there was like a Japanese version of Friday the 13th. I remember my buddy had that he was so proud of because it had like extra kill scenes or like
Really?
the guy who had a spear in him 2 seconds longer than in the
Okay.
American version, that kind of shit.
That's cool.
That is interesting. So this version that we watched, like if you saw that in theaters, you wouldn't see like fingers get cut off or anything like that. Is that kind of?
I think you still would have in 1980.
Yeah.
I think so.
It was before they cracked down.
Yeah.
I see.
The crackdown happens later. And if you watch all the Friday the 13th movies, by the time you get to like 6 and 7, there's almost like no gore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now movies, when there is gore, they have no problems like showing you everything.
Right.
No, but they won't show you tits.
No.
You can't have A without the B.
I just want both. So Glazer is like trying to fuck this chick.
He didn't
Sally.
try. He succeeded.
No, he underperformed. I thought he couldn't get it up.
2 pumps.
Yeah, I think it was a 2 pump chop. That's
pump.
what I
Okay.
got.
Yes.
He really, for the villain, really weak dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's emasculated at every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has one moment of strength and everyone's like, you're an asshole for doing that.
Yeah.
He does a quick bounce.
Yeah, well, he underperforms. Has anyone here ever underperformed?
Oh, who
Pulled
cares?
a Glazer?
Of course.
Yeah,
Who has? Everybody relates to Glazier.
every time.
What was I gonna say? Never mind. I forgot what I
What?
was gonna say. I don't know. I
Alright,
had something and then it left.
So-
He leaves. He's like, I'm gonna go get.
I'm
like,
coming right
some
back.
fire.
Oh yeah, he's kind of loving afterward.
He wants to have a fire. He
He's
wants
not
to
a
try,
terrible
He wants
guy.
to try again by the fire.
I kind of like Glazier.
You know?
So Sally gets killed.
He's nicer than Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Eddie's a rapist.
Glazer's
Glazer's like
really like overpowering. Like she was like, I really don't want to, and he was like, no, we're gonna. I really don't want to.
yeah, but then
No,
she
we're
was
gonna.
like, all right.
Yeah.
It was Revenge of the
Yeah,
Nerds.
So Glazer is then killed when he comes back.
Well, she gets murdered.
Yes.
Just laying in the sleeping bag. And then Glazer comes back and happens upon her corpse and then is overtaken by
This scene
Yes.
confused
by the
me
Cropsey.
because you don't see her dead. You see her what looks like she could be knocked out. She could be.
Yeah, but we watched her get a knife in her neck.
I thought she was actually the killer at this point.
What are you
You don't
talking?
see-
We've
you
been
don't see-
watching the killer the whole time.
Oh, you don't see the knife go in her neck.
We watched him come
No,
out of the
I'm saying
hospital.
You don't see the knife go in her neck. Or I thought she was like a partner.
You don't?
No, you see her struggling, and it's like
Oh, I thought
and then it
they
cuts.
saw him push into.
I
the
thought
neck.
I remember it
Does
going
it?
in.
Oh, maybe.
I thought it pushed right into here, like
Yeah, like in her, like in the middle of her throat,
Yeah,
right?
I thought
yeah.
it was.
That
I thought
seemed
it
to
was
be his
struggle.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What an unwieldy, impractical
Yes.
killing tool, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's using giant garden shears.
Yeah.
If we haven't said it.
yeah, you would think you would go axe or something swingable, you know? He's got to get really close.
Yeah.
I guess because he's a maintenance man
Yeah.
at camp.
So,
So he's trimming hedges.
so Alfred sees this
Gets Todd.
because he was peeping on them having sex.
He's right behind Glazer as
The
he
whole
comes
time.
back to fuck.
The whole
Like
time.
Glazer's on his way back to do some fucking, and the Alfred is literally like 5 feet behind him. You watch him. I don't know how Glazer didn't know he was there, but he just watches both of these people get fucking massacred. He's always peeping. He's always a watcher. He's the voyeur.
So, where are we?
He goes back to get Todd, and
yes.
he's like, Todd, they're dead. You
Yep.
gotta come help.
They find the empty raft, and they're like, what the fuck? There's all these bodies here.
Yeah.
Like, the girl's screaming at the
They
bodies.
swim out to check it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they're like, okay, we got to get the fuck out of here.
They construct another raft extremely quickly.
No, I think it's
Or
the
did
same
they
raft.
just push the kids off?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
off the raft.
Good point.
That's I couldn't figure out either.
Yeah, that's what I assumed they did. So then they get in the raft, which all their friends were murdered on,
Right.
and they're
The
like,
blood's still all over.
yeah, and like, all right, we got to paddle back. And
Attempt 2.
Jason and the fat girl, they start paddling back.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
And-
make it though.
Yes, they do.
Mhm.
And they go to they get to the police eventually, and the police are going to come by chopper
Yeah.
to get
rescue
everybody and save the
Well,
day.
the only ones left behind are Todd and Alfred.
Yes,
Yeah.
everybody else is gone.
Yes, and they're going to do battle with Cropsey.
And now there's a lot of like abandoned building lurking and like
I
walking
assume
around.
this was the camp. This was the ruins of the camp.
That makes sense.
That's a good assumption.
Yeah.
It looks like
Uh,
Aztec ruins.
Yeah. They said originally it was supposed to take place in a mine.
Yes,
It is
which
a
is
There
why,
is a mine cart.
It's a mine
yeah.
shaft.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess
the
it's
whole
a
thing.
mine, yeah.
and apparently originally Todd was going to be like a final boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a final boy?
So a final girl is the last girl in every horror movie who fights the killer and saves the day. Typically, it's rare where it's a boy.
I see.
So it's like, you know,
Mm.
Yeah, they said that they were originally wanted to shoot it in a cave, like this mine cave. And so they scouted it out. And then the next day they went back and like a huge boulder had fallen down, a bunch of rocks and debris and shit.
Wow.
And they're like, well, obviously we can't shoot here. So that's why they changed
They
it to
needed
the.
Jesus to come and move
To
it
what
for
look,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like what changed it to the regular mine shaft.
and then they tried a boathouse and they went to the boathouse and it was filled with bats.
yeah,
And they were like, well, we can't use this either. So that's why it is like just kind of this weird empty space.
Yeah.
But
It works.
yeah, I
It
think
works for
so.
the scene.
So there's a lot of like kind of like looking around, peeping, and now
Well, that's where Alfred really thrives.
yes, Alfred is kind of there. What's his face? Where did he get the axe?
He just has one now.
Yeah, right.
I guess they needed to make that fucking raft.
Yeah. So Todd has a
Gets
axe.
pinned to a wall,
With scissors.
and he puts it looks like he puts the hedge clippers through his arm,
Yeah.
It's not really through.
but he
though.
kind of just lets it be there for a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because he eventually ends up pulling it out.
I think,
but he just kind of just stays
I think
there.
they needed to extend the runtime in this
Yeah.
few scenes because the chase scene where like
It's endless.
it's endless. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
long.
I think this
It's
is
pretty long.
this is the part of the movie where I'm like, I wish this was better. Like the third act kind of really falters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoy the movie up until this third act.
Mhm.
I think one of my
So-
notes was like, please extend the runtime again. And I said, thank you, Todd, because you have Alfred do the run, and then Todd does the same run.
Yes.
It's like it's the most
Yeah,
unnecessary.
we watched
thing.
the same sequence of events happen
Twice,
twice.
yeah.
You're right.
I think you're right though. It is a rarity, and it's not as satisfying when it's not a final girl. You want
Yeah.
to see that female overcome the killer.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You don't care if it's a fucking guy. I don't know why.
Well, because
Yeah.
he has
Just
a
don't.
fighting chance.
I
You know?
guess so. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I guess the woman you assume is overcoming all odds.
Yes.
Although I don't know, man. Like one of these killers, I'd be down in a fucking
Todd-
second.
Yeah.
Todd has an axe and is ready to do battle.
Yeah.
You know, like he's going to fight.
Where
He's
the girl
pure
is gonna
hero.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, he's like, I want to go one-on-one with Cropsey.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. It turns a little too actiony.
Yeah,
towards the end.
exactly.
Yeah.
And now we get to the point where they reveal Todd was there at the burning.
Then you
Yeah.
realize, wow,
He
I
has a
really want
flashback.
Todd to die.
It's like we already
Yeah.
knew. It. Everybody knew.
You're like, Todd's a piece of shit.
Todd's a piece of
Yeah.
shit. Why doesn't he die?
So now we get, Cropsey is revealed and we see his face and he takes a flamethrower.
In the mine.
Yeah, I don't know where he gets a
Hold on.
flamethrower from.
Did you guys catch this? In the mine, Todd almost gets killed by a cart.
A mine cart.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then he's all stumbled and he turns like a corner or something. And there's a screenshot of the slit throat of the first girl. He finds her
he
body.
finds her body, yeah.
But it's not
Karen.
her body. It's like a screen cap of the past shot of her like
Yeah,
this.
it's really weird looking.
Really
Yeah.
like done poorly.
I saw that and I was like, did she not come back? That's what I was wondering. Like, did they want her to like come back and she was like, no? Maybe Harvey.
Like come back for
yeah,
a reshoot.
yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
fuck no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I
they're
think
like-
happened.
We'll just take a screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh wow. He wrote this? Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah, he was a partial writer.
Well, it said that it said created by, which I wasn't exactly sure what that happened because he certainly didn't create the legend.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he came up with the idea to do it in a movie. You know,
Right.
that's what I think.
He wanted to credit himself somehow.
Yeah. Do you feel bad for Bob Weinstein? Because supposedly he did nothing wrong, and his career is kind of over now because of his brother, right?
There's lots of people I feel bad in life for. Bob,
Yeah,
just
okay.
doesn't make the list. I don't care.
He probably knew.
Yeah, come on.
You knew,
Yeah.
and you did nothing.
You knew then.
You did nothing.
Mm.
Area 51.
So, he takes out the flamethrower, and he's getting ready to burn
and
Todd.
he runs out of propane.
Yes, and
Was an
Alfred
issue.
Alfred stabs him, and they're like, "We did it. Cropsey is dead." But he's not
Alfred
dead.
pulls the thing out of his arm. Finally, it took
Yes.
him a day and a half to do it, and then gets him in the back.
Yep. And now,
And then they smash his skull with the axe,
yeah,
and then they burn him again.
yeah. The axe in the head is almost identical to like a Jason kill that happens later. Or maybe it's a Friday the 13th kill. But there's like,
the
you
same
could put
thing?
the two Savini effects next to each other, and it like is the
Exact,
same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Way out with Freddy.
I like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I think
he's
the
one of the better
movies get a
ones.
little too like schlocky.
I think he's one of the better ones.
When did he get the metal band to like do the music video? Do you remember this?
That was Dream Warriors.
Dream
Third-
Warriors. Yeah.
Talking.
Dokken.
The third one.
The Dream Warriors.
That's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is it?
Yeah, 3 and then 1.
It's funny, like the age difference can make like the movies be absolutely different in terms of which one's your favorite.
Yeah.
Like I like the original Friday the 13th. I like the second one, and I like the third one. Anything after that, I don't like. But like that's where like Q picks up, and he loves those. 'Cause
Okay.
he's like 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Like Jason in space.
No.
Oh, that was Freddy versus Jason.
No,
right?
Jason X.
Jason X.
Jason X was
Yeah.
him in
Right.
space. Yeah.
He looked like Shredder from Ninja Turtles, only more metal.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. You would love like the later ones when they're really bad because
Oh,
they're
yeah?
schlocky. Like he loves shit.
Okay.
Like he the
I
wor-
can't get behind you. Like I loved Thanksgiving. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving was about an evil turkey
Yeah.
that kills people.
Cursed a lot, too.
Yeah. The movie opens up. He's chasing a woman like a pilgrim
With tits
through the
out.
woods,
Yes,
and her
yes.
tits are just out as she runs through the woods. And then the turkey says to her, "Nice tits, bitch," and then stabs her. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Not even like better breasts than mine.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
nothing
Not even
remotely
clever.
He's just mean.
So after the movie wraps up, Cropsey is dead. The story is now retold as a campfire
Yeah.
story by a new counselor, and he
Yes.
looks into the camera and goes, "You're dead," and the movie ends
Yeah.
to the sweet
is-
sounds of Rick Wakeman.
Which is not supposed to be the original ending, from what I read.
No, okay.
What's supposed to
I don't
be?
know.
Oh.
That I could have, but evidently the director sort of like let it go at the very end, and Harvey went back and did what Harvey does
And chopped it.
and chopped it up, and changed it.
I like the
can't believe it's
campfire
Rick
ending.
Wakeman.
I like the
But it
campfire
doesn't
ending.
like the killing of Cropsey though. It doesn't leave room for a sequel, which like back then people weren't really thinking sequels that much. Because if you like watch Friday the 13th Part 2, the first 10 minutes of the movie recap Friday the 13th Part 1. Like they
does
would
it?
Yeah.
never do that today.
And doesn't in Halloween doesn't Michael Myers, like, his body isn't there at the end?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He should get shot off the
So they left it
porch
open
or
for him.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need
Balcony.
franchise. Need
Well, that one, they're
franchise
like,
money.
he's the boogeyman, you know? And I think a lot of these, they're really not thinking about franchises.
Right.
You know, I think they don't think how lucrative it is. Otherwise, I guarantee you we would have had Cropsey show up at the end of this one
Mhm.
for a tease.
Mm.
You still could do it though,
We could do a Cropsey movie
know,
whenever we want.
because it's like you still get.
What
you
are we
still
waiting
get
for?
The like the Scream-esque thing where it's like, oh, the mimic killer, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna dress up like Cropsey and kill like him, and you know, stuff.
Well, they
like
do that in so after they did the 4 Jason movies,
Mhm.
well, the 4 Friday the 13th movies, they killed Jason at the end of the 4th one, and they're like, he's dead, he's not coming back. The 5th Jason movie
Copycat.
is a copycat killer.
Yeah.
Everyone hates that movie. So they bring him back as a zombie in 6, and he's a zombie from then on. And that movie opens with him doing like a James Bond like barrel sequence. Like he comes out of a James Bond barrel and throws his knife into the camera.
What's a James Bond barrel?
The barrel sequence, the gun
I see,
barrel.
I see.
That's true.
But
6. They really needed 6. There were so many stories.
There's
to
10.
tell with Jason.
I want more. I wish they would still do them. But they're doing a TV show
Too
now.
many.
They're
Did-
working on.
Oh,
it.
Did
really?
you like
Yeah.
that final Halloween movie from last year? Where they
The Rob Zombie one.
No. They did one.
Danny McBride.
Evil Dies
and-
Tonight. They kept saying.
Well,
it.
there's Halloween Kills, and then there's Halloween Ends, which was the last one.
Right.
Did you saw that, right?
I saw them. Yeah. No, I'll say this much: I like them better than the Rob Zombie ones,
Okay.
but I still didn't like them.
Mm.
You just can't like. Everybody knows there's something about nostalgia. You can't recapture it. You can't
Right.
recapture that feeling. And that's why, like, when I go on to any number of streaming services and I see a slasher movies from like 2016, I'm like, forget it,
Yeah.
because it's not going to have
Yeah.
that same flavor that I remember.
Mhm.
And it's like I've seen so many from the 80s that it's hard to find one that you're like, wow, that was pretty decent. Still,
Yeah.
you know.
My favorite horror movie is The Blair Witch Project, and I know a lot of people
I
laugh
hate
at
it.
that. But they did that remake. I don't know, maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I hate that. I despise it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the original is just perfect to me.
That Blair Witch Project, I remember it came in because I was working at Kevin's office at the time, and this would have been like 95,
98,
6
I
or
think.
somewhere. Was it 98?
Yeah.
And somebody sent in the tape, and it didn't have any credits,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't have any end credits. It was just like the movie proper.
That's great.
And you watch it, and you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Like, because you've never seen anything like it
Yeah.
before, you know?
Oh, so you were like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah, and I was like, there's no way this is real, though. And Kevin was like, no, it's not real. But then I showed it to my gullible girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
and she bought into it 100%. She's like, I can't believe this.
Well, there was also like they were like one of the smartest ad campaigns I think I've ever seen.
They were like the first movie to do like internet advertising.
Well, their
They made the
advertisement just
website.
had their faces saying missing kids.
Yeah.
And like
And
that
there's
was
a
it.
whole backstory on the website you
Yeah.
could go to, and like
Yeah.
it had lore.
Yeah. And it's like, oh wow, there's kids missing and this like found footage. Let's watch this.
Mhm.
If you didn't know any better, it was I think isn't that the best like budget to grossing
It might
ratio
be,
movie ever made?
I think it was until Paranormal Activity.
which is the same thing.
So- okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made like 200 something million dollars. They spent like 400 or something like that.
Not like Dinky Do.
Dinky do. Oh my god.
Oh my God. So
Skinamarink.
I know you're a horror guy. Did you hear about this movie that came out last year called Skinamarink?
No.
It's the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. It's basically, and I'm not exaggerating, it's shots of corners of this guy's house with like just weird noise underneath for like an hour and a half.
Right.
And I heard all the marketing. I was like, this is the scariest movie ever, all this shit. I was like, let me check the movie out. And we went, and it's just literally shots of corners, and then it will pan against like the floor, and it will be like a wet spot on the wall for another 10 minutes, a pair of shoes. So I took out my cell phone and I basically remade the movie in like 5 minutes.
Call it Dinky do.
Yeah. But I created a game that we could play
Oh.
before we're done.
game?
Yeah.
All right.
It's called The Slice is Right. It's so
Man loves a pun.
He's so funny.
yeah.
He's
So
I wish you could replace the P with an F.
so this is what's it called? Sorry. This is takeoff on The Price is Right.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Who would've
So
guessed that?
first you will get a numerical question, and then you will get the chance to go to the showcase. There's only 5 questions. All right.
Okay.
Make it more complicated.
All right. So The Slice is Right. How many kills does Freddy Krueger have on screen? Steve, you can go first. Give your answer.
How many?
The winner is
so high, close without going over.
closes out going
Okay.
over.
How many kills Freddy Krueger? Oh my god.
How many Freddy movies? Can I know that?
Yeah. How many
Uh,
movies are there?
I think there's 7.
7 movies. Okay. Steve,
I think so.
give a number.
28.
Okay, Bri.
I'm going to say 23.
Okay.
I'm going to say 31.
Anthony, you are the closest without going over.
Son of a
What is
bitch.
It is 62.
Holy shit.
Wow.
We're way off.
Wow.
right.
I was like, he's got to kill at least 4 per movie.
All right, so this is the first showcase. Which slasher has the highest body count?
And that was 62.
That was 62.
Jason.
Okay. Does that? I'm not going to say the answer yet in case someone wants to give a guess.
So me winning that meant nothing. You're giving them chances.
No, this isn't for points. I just want to see if they happen to.
I would have went with Michael Myers.
Yeah, I was probably going to go with that too. But
The answer is Michael Myers with 161.
Holy
Jason has 151.
How many movies did Michael Myers have?
He recently, the last 3 movies are what put him over the top.
Yeah, he had a lot of kills.
Yeah, Jason's kind of been inactive for like almost 20 years. 2009 was his last one. So,
okay.
all right.
It's interesting.
So we are on to the next question in The Slice is Right.
Fucking hate this.
Serial killer.
That's what stinks.
Serial killer Harold Shipman tops the all-time confirmed kill list with how many proven kills?
There's a real silver.
We'll start with Bri. Real killer.
202.
Okay. Anthony?
87.
Steve?
What's that thing they do with Price is Right?
One.
If I do 203 and it just like cancels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 203.
Steve, you have one. It's 218 confirmed.
Oh my
You were
God.
close.
All right.
I know it was in the
You
200
were
somewhere.
close.
Yeah.
What an evil man.
Yep. The Melendez brothers tried to use this James Bond movie as an appropriate titled alibi for their murders.
So they killed their parents.
Yes.
Appropriate titled alibi?
Yep. This is
I don't know all the
so they
James
bought
Bond
a
movies.
ticket to a James Bond movie
Oh.
and tried to use that ticket to say we weren't home to kill
which
our
James
parents.
Bond
When
movie?
did that
Yes.
happen? I want to say that was in the 80s.
It is the 80s.
What's the Die Tomorrow? What's
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow
You're
Never
thinking of?
Dies? Yeah.
That's 97.
All right.
which
so
helps
I'm
Steve.
totally off.
Can any of us
I don't know Bond
chime
movies.
in? Can any of us
Yeah, I
chime
think
in?
so.
Or is it
If
just
yeah,
Steve?
yeah,
I don't know
you
Bond
could guess.
movies.
I'm going to say it's View to a Kill.
Okay.
I don't know the 80s.
The answer is License to Kill.
So none of us got it.
All right. It's anyone's game still.
I can't tell who the winner is.
No one listening. All right. Samuel Little is the most prolific American serial killer of all time. How many proven kills does he have, Aunt G?
Samuel Little.
Yes.
Proven or
Never heard
or
of him. And
alleged?
he's got
These
more.
are proven. I'm only
so
going
where
by
was the
proven.
last guy from? Just out of curiosity.
He's UK. He's British.
Wow. Okay.
He was a doctor.
And he had 218. You said.
Yes.
And this is an unusual serial killer. This is a black guy.
Yes.
Yes, I know
Yep.
this guy.
Oh. Okay.
Very rare.
I'm gonna go with 110.
Okay.
I'm gonna go confirmed or confirmed plus alleged.
These are only confirmed.
Only confirmed. I'm gonna say 70.
Okay.
I think it's a little higher than. I'm gonna go 75.
The answer is 60. Steve,
Damn.
Yeah,
come
I
on down to the
I actually
showcase.
knew the article, but he actually killed 90.
Yeah.
He confessed to 90, but they could only prove 60.
Yeah, that's a lot of these
something like
guys.
that,
they try
yeah.
to pump up their numbers after
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
caught. But so
I kind of believe the guy who
right.
confirmed 60 that maybe you didn't find the other 30 bodies.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
it's no laughing matter. Jimmy the hair guy has a shrine to this real life killer in his house.
He has a shrine to a serial killer in his house.
Yes,
The fuck's wrong with him?
clearly something.
I wasn't aware about this.
Oh, yeah.
Hair guy.
Is it
Yep.
Shaggy too dope?
No, give a serious answer. Come on.
Okay.
Would you like me to repeat the question?
No. Does Manson count as a killer, even though he didn't do it
All right.
himself?
I'm basing this just because he's into clowns and juggalos.
Oh,
Is
fuck
it
you.
the
That's
guy from Chicago?
John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy.
It's John Wayne Gacy.
That
Yes.
was going to be my guess too.
Yeah, I thought the laughing matter thing would give it away.
What a fucking weird guy.
Steve is currently in the
Yeah,
lead.
you think?
All right. He also, I believe, has like a Ted Bundy portrait as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Women love Ted Bundy. I don't
Women
know
love
why.
Jimmy the hair guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People love Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Brian loves Jimmy.
I
We
do.
love Jimmy.
How many proven victims does Ted Bundy have? I think we start with Steve now.
Proven.
Proven.
These numbers are hard.
They're hard. 35.
Okay.
I was going to say 36.
You could say 36.
I'll say
doing?
36.
36.
Who are we doing?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
He's got the best bet now.
40.
The answer is 20. Steve is good at the number
Damn.
game.
Went over.
No, I said 35.
This
I'm the
showcase, I
closest.
think, is very easy.
Okay.
Whack the mama. She did 40 times.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, this is easy.
Lizzie
Well, it's
Borden.
not on me, so
It's Lizzie Borden.
Well, yeah.
Did I
I went first already,
ruin
so-
it? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm not going to give Steve credit for that one. Ant stole your answer.
what did I do?
Ant fucked you. All right. Last one. Son of Sam killed how many people? Start with Bry.
I think he's got the best shot at this one.
My mother was terrified of the Son
8.
of Sam.
8. Okay. Ant.
6.
5.
6. Ant, come on down.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep overshooting. I think
Yeah.
I want more people to be dead.
Yeah. You're expecting
gore.
way more victims, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
All right. Have a seat. Not the brother of Chris, but this serial killer played the most dangerous game with hookers in Alaska.
Oh, it's
I have no idea.
not Robert Hansen, is it? Israel Keys?
Yeah.
Robert Hansen?
Yep.
Robert Hansen?
Yeah, it's Robert.
Robert
Yeah.
Hansen.
Chris, oh,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Chris Hansen. Very
Yeah.
good, Brian. I
Okay.
I like your pun.
So Steve
hard.
wins. Steve wins the slices right by 1 point.
Sick.
Nice work.
So
Yeah.
I think that
Nice work, Steve.
Is my
You and Jimmy the
reward.
hair
I get
guy.
to see-
Yeah.
I get to see your drawing.
Yep.
Is that my reward?
There you go. I think this is one of the better ones.
Not
Do
bad.
you think
Fantastic.
you're inviting
Not bad.
some kind
How
of
fantastic
evilness
is
into
this
your
drawing?
life?
Can I show this
By
to the
what?
camera? Does the camera
That's
see what he handed me?
Oh.
And nothing?
He handed me a blank page.
Do you
Sorry.
think you're inviting some kind of evilness into your life, having a shrine to John Wayne Gacy in your house?
It's the best. It's the best.
I
you've ever
don't
done.
think it's a good idea.
All right, it's the best you've ever done.
Yeah.
It's hedge clippers, but it
Yes.
does look like you tried drawing a hammer and sickle and didn't know how to do like a sickle or hammer.
Your handwriting is it looks like my wife's.
It's
like,
bad,
like,
right?
like she writes with like a pen between her left toe. Like her two left
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my handwriting is atrocious.
You want to?
I was naturally supposed to be left-handed, and my
Oh.
mother forced me to use my right, and it
You never
fucked
tried
me up.
switching?
By the time I was conscious enough to switch, it was too late You know, like I'm
Why
not
would
going to
she do
start
that?
doing
That's
everything
weird. Why would she
again.
do that?
Nobody
So-
beat you into using your right hand?
My mother did.
No, that's
Oh,
what
she did?
happened. That's why his handwriting
Yeah.
sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
So
Now I feel bad making fun of your handwriting.
It's
'cause,
okay.
Oh, come on.
you were
Yeah,
abused.
I
but-
deserve it. So what do we rate The Burning before we say goodbye?
You know,
And what's your rating? Is it numbers or is it
1 through 10.
1
1
to
through
10.
10.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. It's kind of fun.
There you go.
I feel like it's grown on you since we started talking about it.
Yeah.
It's look, this movie isn't trying to be like Shakespeare or Citizen Kane. It's like,
No.
look at tits, see some gore, have fun. That's
Yeah,
it.
I judged it too harshly with that opening thing with the orderly just being one of the most ridiculous characters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But
He was over the top. He
But
was
that's
funny.
what's great about these. You get these weird over the top characters.
I'll give it a 6.
Okay.
It's a 6.
I was giving it a 5. You know,
Okay.
no, it's not bad. Like you could have fun watching this. You're not getting history, but you're getting a little bit of an urban legend that has some tie to history. It does. It's loosely.
Not only does it, but it made you go and like look more into Cropsey,
Yeah.
more into that
Yeah.
interesting story. It also has the 3 B's: boobs, blood, a bruise, a
There you
brute.
go.
That's all I need. I think it suffers from the ending. The
Yeah.
ending sort of fizzles, so I give it an 8 out of 10.
I'm
Okay.
exactly with you. 8 out of
You guys
10.
like it?
It's a really, it could be like one of the best slashers ever if that ending was better.
Yeah.
Cropsey, the doc, on the other hand, that's a 10 for me. That's one of my
Oh yeah,
favorites.
Yeah, I agree
love
with that.
Oh, that's a great doc,
That's like
yeah.
one of the better ones.
But The Burning is
It
awesome.
also has a lot of interesting film history. 'Cause
What?
You have the Weinsteins.
You got the
You have
Weinstein.
the
Yeah.
starting of Miramax.
We got
and
Yes
all this
Keyboard
other
Players.
stuff. You know.
You know, Rick Wakeman played on Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He did a guest keyboard on oh god, what song is it? I forgot.
Okay.
Supernaut, I think. No, that's on a different album.
Now everyone's going to think you're
He's
an
all over the
asshole.
place.
Sabracadabra.
This guy's not a
Alright.
fan. Yeah, that's The Burning.
That's The Burning.
That's
Bri, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming down.
Yeah,
Thanks for
this is
having me
fun.
back, boys.
This is fun.
I hope
you.
to have you back again
Welcome back
at some
anytime.
point.
After
Yeah.
after the slice is
Obviously, it's
right,
your-
probably not.
It's your studio anyway.
It's like the ending of the Burning game shows.
Yeah.
Just sort of fizzled.
I thought that'd be a crowd pleaser. You know?
I enjoyed it.
I thought I had
So
some.
your last question can't be the easiest question. That you got to build up to it. Like,
Which one?
Talk to Walt Flanagan about how to
How to do
structure
a game.
Yeah.
I should have ran it by him. Walt, so I have this serial killer game. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good.
Walt? Oh, he's
Oh,
a game
great.
master.
Yeah, he's really good.
Can't wait to have you back. You mean him invite us back?
Yeah.
Like pictures of him everywhere.
We're here at his pleasure.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, say bye and all that.
Thank you for-
Brian, anything you would like to promote, even though you own a much larger platform than us? Go.
Let me think.
Patreon.
Yeah, you know what? Patreon, that's okay. My wife just did her first OnlyFans shoot with Zia.
Oh.
So by the time this comes out, you can go to zia_land.com. I'm sure her OnlyFans is there, and you're going to see some boobies.
That's
Oh,
Chip
wow.
Chipperson's
You're going to see some
girlfriend.
cheesecake shots. Yeah.
That's Chip's girlfriend.
That's Chip's girl. Yeah. Zia.
Were you two in the same room during the shoot? You're you and Jimmy just hanging out?
Oh, no.
Now, you were thinking Jimmy the hair guy, right?
Yeah, I thought you were the guy at first. Yeah, not
Brian's
Jim,
like, yeah, come
little
on
Jim
down to the
Norton.
shoot, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Fuck yeah, man. Come on, let's do this.
Do you want me in there? I'll take my junk out for
Yeah,
you.
whatever you want, man. I'll do anything. I just want to be involved.
I got the body of a toddler. That was one of the best things you said recently, man. All right. Hold on. Want to give a big thank you to everybody listening and or watching. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow the show on Apple iTunes. Leave a review. It helps potential sponsors find the show. Check out our sponsors, BetterHelp and Riverside. Check it out. You know, help us. All that shit. I don't know.
The man knows how to sell.
We still got to do the ads. We got to do it. All right. Thank you guys. Follow the show everywhere. Review History Pod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Send us an email, reviewinghistorypod@gmail.com.
Go to the website and buy some merchandise. will
Yes,
ya?
please.
Yeah, why not?
Follow me personally on all social media, Reviewing History. Sorry, Brian Rupert everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Letterboxd. I rank and review every single movie I watch. We'll see you next time. Bye.